Hello and welcome to the second video of the Perun Santis video series. Today I will read verses 6 to 16, and to start off with I shall raise my glass and have a toast to Perun. So let's begin. Verse 6. And the people asked Thunderer Mostwise, "Tell us Swarogik." So Swarogik is the son of Svarog, just like Olaf's son is the son of Olaf. Why priests of the united God and pilgrims of the gods want to achieve immortality by achieving the Vedas? Tell us, is there any death in the human world Yawi, or is everything immortal? Which one is the truth? The human world Yawi, that is the material world that we live in, everything that we can see, the material world Earth, that is Yawi. And before we read the answer to this question, whether there is any death or everything is immortal, let's take a closer look at the Russian word for immortal. It looks like this. It is besmертна. The second part of the word mертна means time. And the prefix can be written either with this letter that looks like a turned around 3 or with this letter that looks like a C. But both letters are in this word. So when you take the prefix with a 3-looking letter, besmертна, that prefix would mean absence of or without. So without time. When you use the C-looking letter, then besmертна takes on a whole different meaning, because then that would mean the presence of dark forces. So your eternity can either be timelessness or dark times. And which one it will be, that's up to you. Okay, let's go on. Verse 7. Swarogik answered them, "Both are true." Of course, because the right answer to every yes or no question is always yes and no. But only in delusion the singer sings about death. I call death deceit, but not immortality I call deception. Self-delusion led to the fall of the gods. Immortality is not achieved by deception under God's law Pravi. And death is not like a fox devouring the living. It has no perceivable form. You observe death around you, but you will not find it within yourself. So that means, for one, we will find death around us, meaning our material body, our earthly vessel, and everything that is material around us, that will perish. But that's what's within ourself, our soul and our mind, so our spirit, that is eternal. That does not perish. And it says, immortality is not achieved by deception under God's law Pravi. So this is obviously talking about the timelessness aspect of immortality, and this will not be achieved by deception under God's law Pravi. Pravi is the world of the gods. And the word Pravi is Russian and means truth. The law. Pravi means the law, and pravda means truth. So the world of the gods, Pravi, is the law. God is the law, and the law is truth. So it becomes clear why one who chooses the deception and the lie cannot enter the world of God. Okay, let's go back to this one line where it says, self-delusion led to the fall of the gods. In the original Russian text, they use the word legi. Legi refers to higher beings, you can say. They could be angels or they could be elves. And you know, elves, there's dark elves and there's light elves. Yeah, it can go either way. So that would be legi. And but I chose to translate this word with gods because, you know, when you think of angels, you have the fallen angels, so it's not so far-fetched, you know, to use the word gods. So I exercised my poetic freedom. I translated it this way so that later I can talk about the fall of the gods, which I will do. Okay, so let's go on. Now one more thing. So basically it says, if we choose the deception, meaning the illusion or the lie, then we cannot enter the world of the gods, Pravi, because we are separated from God, we are separated from Source, because we are separated from the truth. And in the Eddas, they also refer to death as being a dream. So you could also say these people are sleeping, hence this expression, the Great Awakening. Okay, verse 8. Other people think that Urzek, god of the dead. So you see, so these dead people, they also have their own god. So this is the false god. Is different from death. And your journey to the worlds of the gods, Pravi, is eternal. It is kept in your soul and mind, yeah, which are eternal also. Same God rules in the world of ancestors. Yeah, so this false God rules in the material and in the non-material world, because those dead souls that are here walking around here now within their earthly vessels, when they leave and they haven't woken up during this lifetime, they stay dead. Yeah. He is good to the favorable, and he is not good to the unfavorable. At the behest of Urzek, anger, delusion, and death manifest in human children in the appearance of greed. So one important thing, it says your journey to the worlds of the gods, Pravi, is eternal. This means that, so first of all, you're always moving, yeah? And if you end up in a dark place, yeah, you're living in darkness, you will always have the opportunity to reach the light. Yeah, this journey is always ongoing. That means there is no eternal damnation, there is only eternal life. And who exactly is this false god then? In this case, it is greed. Yeah? Greed over need, that's the problem. And this greed rules over the greedy. Why freedom begins when you lose all desires. Verse 9. He who leads himself astray will never achieve unity with soul. Lost humans move in the realm of death and die, and again they land in the world of darkness, Navi. Feelings made them lose their way. That's why death is called Marina. So now here we have the third world of this simplified three-world model. So we had also mentioned Yawi, the material world, earth. Then we had talked about the world of the gods, Pravi, which is the law, which is truth. And now we have the third world, Navi, night. That's the world of darkness, or the underworld, also known as hell. Okay. So this, they will never achieve unity with soul. So the soul, this is the one light soul, the one world soul that is the source. It says, they die, and again they land in the world of darkness. The world of darkness that they're talking about here is the combination of Yavi and Navi, because when you choose the deception and you don't wake up, you will live your life, you will die, you will go into Navi, you will be there for a while, maybe you will learn something, maybe not, whatever. One day you decide to come back here to try again, and if you fail again, you go back to Navi, and so on and so on. And when you don't get out of the cycle, you get stuck in this loop between Yavi and Navi, Yavi and Navi. And so this is the world of darkness. This means Yavi, the material world, earth, can also be a dark world for some people who choose to live in this darkness, separated from the light, from the truth, from the source. So these people that are stuck in this loop, in this circle, in this world of darkness, these people, or this is where the idea comes from that some say Earth is a prison planet. And this is again true and false at the same time, because it can be a prison planet if you choose the deception over and over again. It will be your prison. You won't get out of the cycle. But you are the prison guard also, because you can decide at any time to get out of the cycle and get out of this loop. It is up to you. Good. Let's proceed with verse 10. Carried away by their deeds, in chase of harvesting their fruits. So this is talking about people who work not for the sake of the work, but for the sake of making money. So they don't care what work they do. They just want to get the money out of it so that they can go and spend it on material goods that they desire. So, it doesn't mean don't work or don't do anything. Just, do whatever you like and want. Just keep in mind to do it for a greater purpose and a greater good than your own material satisfaction. That's all. And they continue to go this way and do not overcome death. They stay in the loop. Instead of striving towards righteous goals, as conscience calls, the human child born on Midgard will go around in circles of pleasuries, and on this path awaits death. Okay, verse 11. Feelings are a great self-delusion. And when they merge with futile goals, they will lead down futile roads right towards hell. Influenced by the connections with futile goals and thinking about them day and night, the innermost self will begin to worship the outer world Yawi, meaning the material world. So feelings are a great delusion, so the law says facts over feelings, right? Verse 12. In the human world, Yawi, manifested through birth. This is also an interesting line. You might want to think about it for a while, what this means exactly. That the human world is manifested through birth. And in this world, desire for another's strikes them first, soon entailing anger and lust. These three dark products lead the foolish to death, but in the human world Yawi only firm people within whom governs conscience will with firmness defeat death. So now the word conscience has been mentioned twice, and I like to explain this word conscience using the German word for conscience, which is Gewissen. So I'm talking about this conscience, when you do something wrong and you know it's wrong, but you do it anyway, then you kind of have a bad conscience, right? The German word is Gewissen. So you have the word Wissen. Wissen sounds like wisdom, is similar, but means knowledge. Wissen is knowledge. And you have this prefix Ge. We also have a Ge rune. It looks like this. This is the symbol for the Ge rune, G-E, Ge, or gift, geben, Gibor. And this represents the gift of God. So the Ge, Wissen, is the God-gifted knowledge. And when they say, only firm people within whom governs conscience, they mean within whom governs the God-gifted knowledge that we all have within us. The God-gifted knowledge is stored within our eternal mind and our eternal soul, and biological speaking within our DNA. So it's all there. We are born with it. Yeah, we've always had it. And this is this inner voice. This is your heart. That's why they say, follow your heart. Listen to your inner voice. Yeah, when you do that, you will always make the right decision for yourself. Because that's literally God speaking to you. Okay, let's go on. Verse 13. So let's have a little toast to the God-gifted knowledge within yourself. That you don't get distracted from that inner voice of yours. Directed thought pacifies uncomfortable feelings. With disregard, you should fight them. Yes. Don't give them any of your time and energy and try to pacify, the pacifier, these thoughts. Just, ignore them, disregard them. Don't give them any of your attention. That's what that means. There is no death for those who have overcome passion with knowledge, for they have surpassed death. But a human that longs for lust and follows passion perishes. But a human who defeats vicious desires blows off the dust of passion. Verse 14. For all beings and humans this is also interesting. It doesn't say for all human beings, it says for all beings and humans. So maybe we are more than human beings. Possible. Hell seems to be pitch darkness. Recklessly they rush to their own downfall like insane. But what can death do to a human who has renounced insanity? But he who refuses wisdom of ancestors shall not think about anything else as if he drove out his own life power. So let the insane become more insane. It's like when you start with one lie, that leads to another lie to cover up the first lie, and the second lie leads to a third lie to cover up the second lie, and so on and so on. And then one day you're so wrapped up in your lies that you don't even know your own center anymore. Yeah, you're totally lost. And when you're totally lost, you're totally insane. And this is what we can observe right now in the world. So all this insanity, as we are in this apocalypse, yeah, everything comes to light, and the great unveiling of the insanity is happening. It's quite amusing. Okay, so verse 15. Wrath, greed, and delusion of the inner self are the bearer of death in this terrestrial body. Humans who acknowledge wisdom, gods, and ancestors know that death is born this way, and death does not scare them, because they know for them it's going to be timelessness, the eternity. In their field, death disappears, just like the mortal disappears when he enters the field of death. Okay, at this point I just want to make a really short little note. I always use he. And when it says he, like he enters the field of death or whatever, this naturally always includes the she, of course, yes? But I'm just not interested in wasting my time with these politically correct, gender-neutral phrasing. So I chose he. I could have also as well chosen she, yes. But here again, I exercised my poetic freedom and I chose he because I can. Yeah, that's that. Verse 16. And Odin, warrior of Aryan kin, asks Perun, tell us, why sages say that humans can reach the blissful worlds of the heavenly law, Pravi, the purest, everlasting, by performing bloodless sacrifices. They call the Vedas their highest purpose. How should he who knows this deal with it? So there's also a few things in here I like to talk about really quick. So first of all, again it says the blissful worlds of the heavenly law. So there's more worlds within the world of God, within the world of the law. And this also applies to Navi, the world of darkness. There's also more worlds within that world. So there's several layers, or you can also imagine it as several floors. In Germany we have a saying when somebody is really, really totally beyond happy, he says, or she, oh, I feel like I'm in seventh heaven. Yeah. So you can enter the world of God, maybe you made it, and you land on the first floor of the world of the gods, and there's more floors, so you can your journey doesn't end there. You can still always rise higher. And the same thing with the world of darkness. Like many people, you would think they're good people. Yeah, they're good people. They go to work every day. They pay their taxes. They obey the laws of society. They do everything a good citizen is supposed to do. And, they never harm anyone really. But even those people can end up in the world of darkness. It's possible. Yeah, and a lot of them actually do. You'd be surprised. So, but then obviously these people will not sit at the same table with those really evil people, who murder children or something. So there's also a difference. Yes, and then he's asking about what do these bloodless sacrifices involve. So, what do the people need to do, to be eligible to enter the world of God? What does this involve? And this we will find out. I mean, this is, we have 144 verses, so don't worry. You will find out exactly all about the law and what you should be doing and should be avoiding. Okay, and now talking about Odin, we're going back to the Edda, this time the prose Edda. In the last video I read a few lines from a poem out of the poetic Edda, and the prose Edda, written by Snorri Sturluson. This is basically just an explanation of the poetic Edda, because these poems are a little bit hard to understand, and so this basically explains the stories that are embedded within these poems. And Snorri Sturluson wrote this down 1200, around 1300. So that was in Iceland, but that was after Christianity. So he had to be careful what to put in this book and what to leave out, so that he could even get this through the censorship of the church. Yeah. So anyway, now I will read out of the prose Edda the story about Baldur's death, which leads to the fall of the gods. Baldur is a son of Odin and Frigga, and he is known as the good, the bright, the charming, loved by all. He is loved by all, just like the sun. The sun is also loved by all, by the good and the bad, by everybody, because without the sun nobody could live. So, let's have a toast to Baldur. And here we go. The death of Baldur and Hermod's ride to Hel. Baldur the Good had a series of ominous dreams. He saw his life threatened. When he told the Aesir about his dreams, they took counsel and decided to seek a truce for Baldur, protecting him from all dangers. Because in his dreams he saw himself dying. Frigg, or Frigga, his mom, took oaths that Baldur would not be harmed by fire and water, iron, and all kinds of metal, stones, the earth, trees, diseases, animals, birds, poisons, and snakes. When this was done and became known, Baldur and the Aesir took to amusing themselves by having Baldur stand in front of all the others at the assembly, while some would shoot at him, Some would strike blows, and some would hit him with stones. Whatever was done caused him no injury, and all thought this remarkable. So they were having a blast. Yeah, they were having fun. They thought this is great. But when Loki, son of Laufey is now, that's a giantess, saw this, it angered him that Baldur was uninjured. After changing himself into the likeness of a woman, he went to Frigg at Fensalir. Fensalir is Frigg's hall. Frigg asked this woman if she knew what the Aesir were doing at the assembly, and the woman replied that everyone was shooting at Baldur, yet he suffered no injury. Then Frigg said, "Neither weapons nor wood will harm Baldur. I have received oaths from all of them." Then the woman asked, "Have all things given their oath not to harm Baldur?" And Frigg answered, "A shoot of wood grows to the west of Valhalla. It is called mistletoe, and it seemed too young for me to demand its oath." Immediately afterwards, the woman disappeared. Loki got hold of the mistletoe. He broke it off and went to the assembly. Hot, that's Baldur's brother, because he was blind, stood at the edge of the circle of people. Loki spoke to him asking, "Why aren't you shooting at Baldur? Why aren't you joining in all the fun? You poor guy." And Hot replied, "Because I can't see where Baldur is, and also I have no weapon." Then Loki said, "You should be behaving like the others, honoring Baldur as they do. I will direct you to where he is standing. Shoot this twig at him." Hot took the mistletoe and, following Loki's directions, shot at Baldur. The shot went right through Baldur, who fell to the ground dead. This misfortune was the worst that had been worked against the gods and men. Baldur's death left the gods speechless and so weak that they were unable to muster the strength to lift him up in their arms. They all looked at one another, and all were of a single mind against the one who had done the killing, but no one could take vengeance, because the place was deeply revered as a sanctuary. When the Aesir first tried to speak, all they could do was weep, and no one could form words to tell the others of his grief. Odin suffered most from this misfortune. This was because he understood most clearly how grievous was the loss, and that the death of Baldur was ruin for the Aesir. When the gods returned to their senses, Frigg asked who among the Aesir wished to gain all her love and favor by agreeing to ride the road to Hel to see if he could find Baldur. He was to offer Hel a ransom if she would let Baldur return home to Asgard. Hermod the Bold, Odin's son, was the one who agreed to undertake the journey. They caught Odin's horse Sleipnir and led it forward. Hermod mounted and galloped off. Sleipnir is the 8-legged horse of Odin. And Sleipnir means the fast traveler. And Sleipnir is also a son of Loki. Just like Hel. Yeah? Now Hermod is riding to the halls of Hel, and Hel is the daughter of Loki, And after she was born, Odin cast her into the underworld and made her the ruler of the underworld. And from her name Hel comes the word hell. Okay, so now it talks about the funeral. I will leave this part out and I will proceed with Hermod. So he mounts the horse and gallops off. Funeral, and then, but about Hermod the following is told. For 9 nights, again we have these 9 nights. Odin hung on the tree for 9 nights. The baby's in the womb for 9 months. And now he is riding for 9 nights. For 9 nights he rode through valleys so deep and dark that he saw nothing before he reached the river Gjoll and rode on to the Gjoll bridge. The bridge was roofed with shining gold, and the maiden guarding it was named Modgud. She asked Hermod about his name and family and said that the previous day 5 troops of dead men had ridden across the bridge. Yet the bridge echoed more under you alone, and you lack the color of the dead. Why do you ride here on the road to Hel? He answered, saying, I ride to Hel in search of Baldur. But have you seen anything of Baldur on the Hel road? She replied that Baldur had ridden across the Gjoll bridge, and down and to the north lies the road to Hel. Hermod rode on until he came to the gates of Hel. He dismounted from his horse and tightened the girth. Then he remounted and spurred the horse, which sprang forward, jumping with such force that it cleared the top of the gate without even coming near it. So he basically broke in. Then Hermod rode up to the hall. He dismounted and went inside. He saw that his brother Baldur was sitting in the seat of honor. So as I said, there's several worlds within the world of the darkness. And obviously Baldur didn't end up in a too bad of a place if he's sitting in a seat of honor. And Hermod then stayed there through the night. So apparently you can also have guests down there. And in the morning, Hermod asked Hel to let Baldur ride home with him, telling her of the deep sorrow and the wailing of the Aesir. But Hel answered that a test would be made to see whether Baldur was as well loved as some say. If all things in the world, alive or dead, weep for him, then he will be allowed to return to the Aesir. If anyone speaks against him or refuses to cry, then he will remain with Hel. Thereupon Hermod stood up. Baldur led him out of the hall, and taking the ring Draupnir, he sent it to Odin as a token. This is something, because I left out the part of the funeral. That's when this ring was also mentioned. But I'm not going to go further into this now. Along with other gifts, Nanna sent to Frigg a linen robe. Nanna is the wife of Baldur, and when Nanna saw Baldur being put on the funeral pyre to be burned, she was so heartbroken she also died, so they burned her with them together. So that's why they're there together now. To Fulla she sent a gold finger ring. So you can even send nice gifts out of this place. Yeah, so maybe that's why some people choose this looping, because it's not so bad down there. Hermod then retraced his path, riding into Asgard, where he recounted all that had happened, what he had seen and heard. Next, the Aesir sent messengers throughout the world, asking that Baldur be wept out of Hel. All did so, people and animals, the earth, the stones, the trees, and all metals, in the way that you have seen these things weep when they come out of the freezing cold and into the warmth. As the messengers, having accomplished their task, were returning home, they found a giantess sitting in a cave. She said her name was Tok. When they asked her to weep Baldur out of Hel, she said, Tok will weep dry tears at Baldur's funeral pyre. Alive or dead, the old man's son gave me no joy. Let Hel hold what she has. The old man's son, the old man is Odin. So what happened here? Okay, first of all, so Baldur is dead, and the death of Baldur leads to 3 dark nights. Dark nights is a metaphor for, in this case, for an ice age. So an ice age would come after this. And the Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods, the fall of the gods. And at the end of this Ragnarök, all the gods were dead. The old gods died. And Odin knew this. This is why he understood what this means when Baldur dies. That means that they're all going to die. Okay, let's start here. So what did the gods do in this story? The gods amused themselves by throwing all kinds of things, deadly stones and metals, at Baldur, which means that they used their power for useless and lesser purposes. Hence, they misused their power, they abused their power, and by abusing their own power, they also abused all the things that had given the oath to them. And, not just that, they were also boasting about it. Yeah, they were showing off this abuse of power. And they're bragging and boasting about how they mastered nature. Yes, because let's take iron, for example, because iron was explicitly mentioned in this text. So when you imagine a cannonball, like a ball of iron, a cannonball, and you direct this cannonball with great force towards somebody's head, the natural thing that will occur, the natural consequence is that this person's skull will probably be smashed and this person will die. Yes? So for iron to promise not to harm Baldur in any way, iron renounces its own nature. Yeah? Iron gives up everything that it is. And it's actually acting very noble and selfless for the greater good, so that Baldur could live. And the gods take this for granted. Yeah? And they're not showing the proper gratitude or respect to iron, in this case, for acting noble and selflessly. So the gods do not behave like gods, and they lose their way. And the consequence is that they cease to be gods, because by making the other things, renouncing their own nature. They're overriding the laws of nature. They're acting against the law of the one God creator. And by this they are creating their own laws. And they're perverting the natural laws. And this is their delusion. Yeah, their delusion is that they think they are greater than God. Now let's talk about the role that Loki plays in all of this. Loki is the father of the Midgard serpent, which can also be seen as the equator. He's also the father of the Fenris wolf, who was tied down by Tyr, and who gets loose when it comes to Ragnarök. And Loki is also the father of Hel, the ruler of the underworld, and he's also the father of Sleipnir, the fast traveler, Odin's horse. And he's also the blood brother of Odin. Yeah, so that's Loki. And in this story, Loki, he is the only one who sees, who sees what the gods are doing is wrong. And then the next thing he does, he finds out all the details from the woman who had initially demanded the oath. Yeah, and he then turns the spike around by using their own weakness against them. Yeah, the blind ends up killing the blind. Yeah, and he gives Hot a last chance. He even calls it out. He says it when he asks him, "Don't you want to behave like all the others and honor Baldur?" Yeah, so this is the last chance for Hot to realize, oh, are they really honoring Baldur by acting the way they are acting? Is this honorable? Yeah, but he doesn't see through it. Yeah, and he accepts the offer, and he kills him. And in the end, it is again Loki, because the giantess in the cave is our favorite shapeshifter Loki again. And his name is Tok, and Tok means gratitude. And he refuses to weep Baldur out of Hel. And there's an important lesson in here. Because that means that mercy does not right a wrong. Yeah? God has no mercy. Yeah, that's not, when you did something wrong and you ask God for to have mercy on you, that's not the way it works under the law. Yeah. So who is Loki? What role does Loki play? He upholds and he enforces the law. Therefore, he is the right hand of God. And of course, in hindsight, the false priests of the false god, which is the deception, they make him out to be the enemy of the gods. Yeah, which is true and also not true. He is the enemy of the gods, but he is the enemy of the false gods. And the false gods don't like that. So they make him out to be the enemy of the gods, painting him like the bad guy, yeah, the bad god within the gods, or the devil. Yeah. And in the Edda, the beginning of Ragnarök, yeah, the coming of the three dark nights, the Ice Age. In the Edda, this is also described as the wolf swallowing the sun, great harm being done to the moon, and all the stars disappearing from the skies. And in the night from yesterday to today, so the night of the 20th to the 21st January 2019, we had the wolf blood moon, followed by the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus. And Jupiter is the new name for Urai Earth. And who comes from Urai Earth? Perun. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, we are in the middle of Ragnarök. Yeah, Ragnarök is happening all over again, but with a little difference. All the old gods, the once fallen gods, have since then progressed, and they have learned, and they have proved themselves again and again, and they have returned. And they are here to kill those false gods that are here now and that have been ruling this earth for the past thousands of years. And as this is happening, we see another Loki character on the world stage. And everybody says, Orange Man bad. And Orange Man is laughing because bad Orange Man knows those who act against him will not survive this Ragnarök, and they will go down with the illusion. And on that note, I shall have a toast to Loki. Thank you for listening, and good luck, and see you next time.